Have you ever felt that love changes as we get older? Carl Jung, a renowned Swiss psychiatrist and psychoanalyst, believed that the real magic of love actually starts to unfold when we hit our 40s. It's not just about finding someone. It's about truly understanding ourselves and embracing a love that's deeper and more authentic. So, why does love at 40 feel so different? When we're younger, love often feels like a thrilling ride. There's passion, excitement, and that rush of new beginnings. It's easy to get swept away by the intensity of emotions, and love can seem like an adventure that's constantly evolving. But youthful love tends to be more about the chase, a search for something, someone, or an ideal version of love that may not fully exist. There's often a sense of wanting to find completeness in another person, seeking out validation or excitement. While this love can be powerful, it's also fragile and prone to instability, especially when the idealistic vision of the relationship crashes into reality. By the time we reach our 40s, something shifts. Carl Jung's theory of individuation, the process of developing a stronger, more integrated sense of self, helps explain this change. As we grow older, we've had time to reflect, learn, and experience. We've made mistakes, faced heartbreak, and grown from those experiences. Through this personal growth, we start to understand who we really are, what we want, and what we need from a partner. At 40, we're no longer searching for someone to complete us. We're seeking a relationship that complements the person we've become. Jung believed that this self-awareness is key to forming healthier, more meaningful connections. Instead of idealizing love or romanticizing a partner, we begin to build a relationship based on authenticity. There's less pressure to be perfect and more space to truly accept and appreciate each other for who we are, flaws and all. Mature love is not about excitement or chasing after fleeting feelings. It's about grounding that love in mutual respect, emotional security, and deep understanding. At 40, love becomes a partnership, built not on illusion, but on the shared journey of growth. It's grounded in real, lasting connection, where both individuals are comfortable in their own skin and bring their whole selves into the relationship. So, why does love at 40 feel so different? Because it's more authentic, rooted in self-awareness, and free from the unrealistic expectations that can plague youthful relationships. Love at this stage isn't about perfection. It's about depth, acceptance, and genuine connection. And that's what makes it so powerful. As we grow older, we begin to realize that the challenges we face in love often come from within. Carl Jung's concept of the shadow self sheds light on why our relationships can be so complicated. The shadow refers to the unconscious parts of ourselves, the fears, insecurities, and unresolved emotions that we tend to hide, even from ourselves. These hidden aspects can significantly impact our relationships, often in ways we don't fully understand. When we're younger, these shadows are harder to see. We may not yet have the emotional maturity or self-awareness to recognize our insecurities, fears, or unhealed wounds. As a result, we may project these unresolved aspects onto our partners, hoping they will fulfill or fix something inside us. In our younger years, this projection can lead to unrealistic expectations and conflicts in relationships as we unconsciously search for validation or completeness from someone else. By the time we reach our 40s, many of us have started confronting our own shadows. Life experiences, whether through relationships, personal struggles, or therapy, push us to acknowledge the parts of ourselves we've kept hidden. This process, known as integration, is an essential part of Jung's theory of individuation. By integrating our shadows, we become more whole, which allows us to build more authentic relationships. We no longer rely on our partners to save us or fill the gaps we've ignored for so long. Love at 40 is different because we've worked through some of our shadows. We understand our flaws and insecurities, and we are no longer projecting them onto others. Instead, we're able to offer our partners a more grounded, real version of ourselves. This shift doesn't mean we're perfect. It means we're more self-aware and accepting of both our strengths and weaknesses. Relationships based on shadow projection tend to be unstable because they're built on illusions. However, once we begin to integrate our shadows, love becomes more genuine and balanced. We stop seeking validation from others and start loving ourselves in the process. This leads to healthier, more stable relationships that are based on mutual respect, understanding, and acceptance. As we enter our 40s, something remarkable begins to happen in our relationships. We become more emotionally mature. This maturity isn't about being perfect. It's about understanding ourselves and others on a deeper level. It's about being more patient, empathetic, and capable of handling the complexities of love in a way that younger versions of ourselves simply couldn't. Carl Jung believed that emotional maturity comes with the individuation process, the journey of becoming more whole by integrating our conscious and unconscious selves. In our 20s and 30s, we may have been driven by youthful passion and desire for adventure, often struggling with self-doubt or insecurity. But as we grow, we shed some of that emotional turbulence and start seeing love with new eyes. Love in our 40s doesn't have the same urgency or need for external validation. Instead, it's rooted in understanding, calm, and empathy. One of the major benefits of emotional maturity is an increased ability to empathize with others. We've experienced enough highs and lows in life to know that people are complex and that relationships require effort and understanding. We begin to see beyond surface-level differences and are more inclined to embrace our partners with kindness and acceptance rather than judgment. This is one of the reasons love at 40 feels so different. It's grounded in emotional intelligence and compassion rather than the impulsive, sometimes chaotic emotions of younger years. Another aspect of emotional maturity is the ability to manage our expectations. In our youth, we may have had unrealistic ideas about what love should look like, expecting perfection or constant excitement. But as we age, we learn to appreciate the quiet moments, the companionship, and the steady presence of someone who truly understands us. We come to realize that love isn't about grand gestures or perfection. It's about the everyday, sometimes small, moments of connection that bring us peace and fulfillment. The paradox of love in your 40s is that while younger people may crave love, they may lack the psychological stability to sustain it. This is where emotional maturity comes in. As we grow older, we become more comfortable with vulnerability and less afraid of opening up. We know that true love doesn't require constant excitement or passion. It requires patience, understanding, and a commitment to growth together. Have you ever noticed how we sometimes seek qualities in others that we struggle to embrace in ourselves? Carl Jung's ideas of anima and animus help explain why this happens. He believed that within each of us exists both feminine and masculine energy, regardless of gender, and finding balance between these internal forces is key to building a healthy, fulfilling relationship. By the time we reach our 40s, many of us have spent years discovering how to integrate these energies, leading to deeper connections and more balanced partnerships. For men, the anima represents the feminine qualities, nurturing, emotional, intuitive, that may have been suppressed in favor of more traditionally masculine traits. For women, the animus represents the masculine energies, assertiveness, strength, rationality, that may have been neglected in favor of more traditionally feminine qualities. Jung believed that integrating both aspects of our personality allows us to feel more complete, and as we reach our 40s, this balance becomes crucial in forming mature, authentic love. When we're younger, these energies are often out of sync. We may not be aware of the need to balance our inner masculine and feminine traits, leading to relationships where we either expect our partner to embody what we're missing or project our own unbalanced qualities onto them. At 40, many of us begin to embrace both the anima and animus within us, realizing that love becomes richer and more fulfilling when both energies are harmonized. This self-awareness and integration lead to a love that's grounded in authenticity. We no longer rely on our partner to complete us or fulfill the missing pieces of our identity. Instead, we seek a partner who complements the person we've become, a partner who is equally self-aware and emotionally grounded. The result is a relationship based on mutual respect, where both individuals bring their whole selves into the connection. Love at 40 is about moving beyond idealizations and projections. It's about embracing the balance within ourselves, and by doing so, creating partnerships that are not only emotionally fulfilling, but also deeply connected. Looking back at past relationships can sometimes bring a sense of regret or unfinished business. But what if instead of seeing them as failures, we recognize them as crucial chapters in the story of our emotional growth? Carl Jung believed that our past experiences, including the ones that didn't work out, offer us valuable lessons. These lessons, though often learned through pain, prepare us for a love that is deeper, more meaningful, and more authentic as we move into our 40s. In our younger years, we often enter relationships with an idealized version of what love should be. We look for love to fill emotional gaps, seeking validation, security, or excitement. But these early relationships are often based on projections, where we expect our partner to be someone they're not, or we fail to recognize our own emotional needs and boundaries. It's only after time, self-reflection, and the lessons learned from those relationships that we begin to understand what love truly is, and more importantly, what it is not. As we age, the emotional wisdom gained from past relationships begins to shift our perspective. Heartbreak, disappointment, and even moments of joy help us build an emotional foundation that is far more solid than we ever had before. With every ending, we are forced to confront who we are, what we need, and what we're willing to accept in a relationship. By the time we're in our 40s, we can look back on these experiences with gratitude, understanding that they were necessary steps to getting us to a more self-aware place. Jung argued that we are constantly growing through our relationships, and this growth allows us to enter new partnerships with greater emotional clarity. Instead of looking for someone to complete us, we begin to recognize that true love is about sharing ourselves with someone who complements our already whole, authentic selves. We stop seeking excitement for the sake of excitement and begin valuing qualities like trust, emotional connection, and shared values. These are the things that create lasting love. In your 40s, love isn't about idealizing the perfect partner or looking for someone to fulfill a fantasy. It's about understanding what truly matters, being with someone who understands you, accepts you, and is willing to grow with you. Past relationships, no matter how painful or difficult, prepare us to build this kind of love, where emotional maturity and authenticity are at the center. As we grow older, our understanding of love shifts. No longer do we chase after the idea of a perfect romance or an idealized partner. The illusion of love being effortless or flawless fades, and we start to see it for what it truly is, a connection built on authenticity, respect, and the willingness to embrace imperfection. In our younger years, we often think of love as something grand, magical, and full of passion, but as we approach our 40s, we realize that love is more about grounding, understanding, and shared growth. By this stage, we have experienced enough to understand that love isn't about a perfect match, but about forming a bond with someone who complements us as we are. There's no longer the need to mold ourselves into a version of what we think our partner wants, or to create a picture-perfect fantasy of what love should be. Instead, we begin to recognize that love, when it's real, is a space where both partners can be vulnerable, open, and true to who they really are. It's about accepting each other, flaws, strengths, and everything in between. In our 40s, we've typically moved past the need for validation or the desire to live up to societal ideals about love. No longer do we rely on external expectations to define what a relationship should look like. Instead, we focus on what makes sense for us. At this point, love is not about seeking someone to complete us, but about finding someone with whom we can share our whole selves. The joy of love at this stage is in the authenticity we bring into our relationships, free from the pressures of seeking perfection. The transformation in our perception of love comes from the emotional maturity we've developed over time. We are more attuned to what we truly want and need from a partner, and we are more aware of our own emotional landscape. In the past, we may have sought out relationships based on fleeting desires or illusions of perfection. But now, we seek something deeper, a love built on mutual respect, emotional security, and shared values. Love that begins at this stage of life is not about the excitement of the first kiss or the thrill of new romance. Instead, it's rooted in the steadiness of shared experience and the comfort of knowing that we are accepted for who we are. Without the need for constant validation or approval, it's about finding a partner who sees us, understands us, and supports us as we navigate the complexities of life. We no longer need constant reassurance or fireworks. What we need is the quiet confidence that comes with being truly known and loved. At this point, we also understand that love doesn't come without challenges. Real love requires effort, patience, and the willingness to grow together. It requires communication, empathy, and compromise. But it's in the working through of these challenges that true intimacy is built. When we accept each other for who we are, without illusions, we create a foundation that is strong enough to weather the ups and downs of life. We are no longer chasing an ideal or trying to live up to someone else's expectations of love. We are creating something real, something sustainable. This authenticity is the core of the love we find in our 40s. There's a certain peace that comes with being comfortable in our own skin. We've had enough time to accept our flaws and learn from our past experiences. We no longer need to hide parts of ourselves or try to fit into someone else's mold. Instead, we bring our whole, authentic selves into the relationship. And when both partners do this, the connection becomes infinitely stronger. At this stage in life, love is not about perfection, it's about acceptance and growth. It's about being with someone who supports your journey just as you support theirs. And because both people are coming to the relationship as whole individuals, the love that develops is much deeper and more fulfilling than the love we experienced in our younger years. It's the kind of love that can stand the test of time because it is grounded in reality, not illusion. Love in your 40s and beyond is no longer about the pursuit of perfection or the fairy tale romance. It's about embracing each other as imperfectly perfect individuals, learning to love each other deeply, and sharing the growth that comes from that love. It's a love that doesn't rely on fantasy, but on authenticity. And that's the love that lasts. If you loved this, don't forget to show some support with a super thanks. Thanks for being part of this.